Too Much Go is back, and just as they promised, they are releasing once again another budget friendly option for the chronograph genre. And here, this time around, it may look like they're reusing the same principles that they have with the previous rally chronograph that they had, but this has a party trick up its sleeve that's really hard to miss. The year is 2025, and if you're a watch company that plays around the sub $500 range and you still do not have a VK64 chronograph in your lineup, then you might want to hire a capable watch pirate to steer the ship to all the right places. It's a massively affordable movement that gives you all of the clicks and snaps of a conventional chronograph while delivering the accuracy that rivals your underappreciated GShock. And that explains why these chronographs are everywhere. And with that saturation, you need to make things a lot more interesting for the public for them to even take a gander at your new, shiny, unnecessary wrist contraption. Of course, there's a thing to be said about the actual need for chronographs in the first place. And here, ToolWatchGo is actually telling us that yes, you can't have more than enough chronographs in your life. This model blends the appeal of that raw steel encased bezel combination with that of a simple dial that also happens to have this high contrast impression. It's lightweight and easy on the eyes. The crown is also a little bit oversized for its proportions, but that's more than welcome when it comes to practicality. On the dial, the contrast between the flint white surface and that stark black elements makes it very legible. It's not perfect though, as the hour and minutes hand may take a split second to locate on certain angles. Everything appears clear and legible though under this K1 crystal, even despite the massive box shape that's around the rim. Still on the dial, the bicompax layout ensures that you have these open spaces that's necessary to project a very roomy interior despite these small dimensions. The back continues the usability of the Lumecore with these quick release spring bars. This makes all the strap changing possible to further personalize your wearing experience. With its incredibly low price, you'll have more than enough spare change to purchase numerous straps to experiment with. A NATO strap, for example, works well enough for this tool watch that you can buy a few of these to complement your attire for today. NATO straps pair well with white dial watches for a number of reasons. One, because it's a striking contrast that enhances the dial's legibility. Two, it's a rugged, military inspired aesthetic. And three, they offer a versatile and easily interchangeable style option without overwhelming the watch's clean design. You have to be aware though that you will need to contend with some extra bulk as these tend to have layers upon layers of materials all over your wrist. If you're willing to say goodbye to that loose change of yours, you can actually invest on a more luxurious strap such as this Hydroplex strap from Artem. This combo is purely aesthetic driven as it's very hard to make sense of a strap purchase when it's nearly the cost of the watch itself. But one common suggestion is really keep your options reasonable and invest time on scouring places such as eBay, Amazon, and AliExpress to find some of the budget alternatives even on the steel bracelet category. And if you're patient enough, a solid 20mm bracelet can actually elevate your budget-conscious chronograph. Like we said before, this is not the only chronograph your grandmama pirate will ever have her filthy mittens on given half the chance. I myself has once designed a VK64 chronograph, but mine had a little more dressy of a setup compared to Tool Watchco. We added a few more select parts here and there and charged the general public a few coins while we're at it. The great thing about Tool Watchco is that they care more about your experience than the dimensions of your wallet. So this really makes their watch proposition a lot more attractive. Speaking of attraction, this greenish white dial also has a full lume treatment on it, so it's as fun as you could imagine it to be. Nowadays, many are attracted to the golden era of watches and the size that they used to be made to. This chronograph visually has that same dimensions as the vintage Tissot right here and is a sort of a validation of the current nostalgic trend that's spreading throughout horology. So this is another case of old school proportions with modern tech on your budget offering. However, considering how much it would cost to service one of these vintage pieces, you might be better off getting one of these microbrands instead. Before we dive closer into this Lumecore chronograph, let's put some attention to your own observations. J-Dub says it reminds him of the Studio Underdog collaboration with Fierce, the Gimlet watch, although this one is much more attainable than that one. Thunder Hay says that most would probably complain about the lack of a running seconds hand, and it's a deal breaker to him always. Jim Kincaid says Lumecore sounds like a new genre of synth music. Well, I kinda agree. And Minkona Mike says, Daddy still like it. Well, is he calling me Daddy or is he calling himself Daddy? I don't know. It's kind of weird. Okay, now down to the nitty and gritty. This chronograph from the outside is surprisingly a treat for all of you who like textures and surface finishes. Starting from the seemingly plain strap, there's a good dose of fabric here, along with a dash of customization with the sign buckle from both sides. I'm not gonna lie though, I've seen better linings on my watch straps, but this one is more than suitable for the price they're offering. Back to the case, the bezel and case finish has a great alternating effect of polish and brush finish. They've used this before with their other chronos, and here that bare steel bezel delivers a different instrumental look. I think it's an amazingly simple visual trick that every manufacturer can utilize. Having this polished facet as a way to separate these circular brushings is a great cost-saving way of providing visual interest. Another way for providing visual interest is coating your dial elements with paint. Here, it not only gives a lot of contrast against the full lume dial, it also has a matte finish that's great to look at up close. In light of the cost-saving aspect of watchmaking, paint can also take the place of metal indexes. When applied to the right watch, it can actually make it look appealing. And to top it all off, Tool Watch Co. uses this incredibly dense dome crystal to add refractions that further elevates the rather simple dial. And that's until you remove light from the situation. As you may have expected, this is a full lume dial that takes full advantage of all the dark painted elements of the watch. Or it could be that the elements were painted black to take advantage of the full lume dial. No matter what it could be, Lumecore takes on its full meaning once you understand the central gimmick of this chrono. Even the K1 crystal takes advantage of this effect as the luminous projection travels all across the dome shape. As a final detail to mention, the dial itself has a glossy enamel treatment that seals the lume. This glossy surface makes it another device of contrast that wraps up this very affordable package. Outside of that affordability, the fun factor really comes out and outshines many in the same price range. Watch pirate dad jokes and all. And just when you thought that you can't have more than one chronograph in your collection, the Lumecore is looking for your attention, and it doesn't take too much to bring one home. And that is the Tool Watch Core Lumecore. Lumecore? I'm not really sure. And this has really three things going on for it. It has that really nice and thin skeletonized hands that you really want to look as close as possible to enjoy, and that, of course, unavoidable, really bright full lume dial that is the real party trick of this watch, and of course the budget friendly price. So what do you think? Let me know if you guys are enjoying Tool Watch Co.'s new brand principle of releasing much more budget-friendly watches, and how they are really managing to get into that market by diving into the vintage styling, but at the same time offering some eccentric features on their watches. Comment down below, let me know what you guys think, if this is a good direction for the brand, and if there's anything that you want to change, let me know as well. And they're more than willing to actually listen to all of your suggestions, which is another great thing about Tool Watch Co. So, that's it. Lumecore? I don't know. I'm not really sure. But hey, you can't avoid that dial.